Hey everybody, Aaron Chandra here. In this video, we're going to be going over how we get our real estate partners 15.9x returns with Facebook ads, but more importantly, you're here because you want to do the same. Let's get right into it. So by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what kind of numbers to expect in terms of running a campaign like what I'm going to show you today, in terms of lead flow, lead cost, expected conversion rates, and so forth. We're obviously going to talk about what the actual strategy is and how it all works. Third, we're going to go over the exact ad copy and creative that you should use to maximize your conversions. And lastly, how to actually optimize your ads so they convert at greater than the standard 1% that most online leads convert at for most average realtors. So be sure you stick around to the end, because if you miss even one of these few things, it could derail your campaign. Now here's the numbers behind the campaign for this specific client. I didn't mention who the client was because I did in a previous video, and that one realtor got bombarded with a bunch of messages. He was pretty cool about it though. But for this specific campaign, it was $2,235 spent roughly. We had a couple different campaigns going on. We generated 481 leads at a cost per lead of $4.64. 4 transactions ultimately closed in about a 4.5 to 5 month time frame with just under a 1% conversion rate. But overall, we had generated $35,000 just about in GCI on $2,200 in ad spend, resulting in a 15.92 ROAS. So what that means there is for every $1 we put in, we just about got $16 back out. Here's a quick snapshot of the Facebook Ads Manager back end, where we had a couple of different campaigns. 151 leads for one campaign, 330 for another, just about $4 lead cost for both of them. $1,961 spent. We had a couple other few hundred bucks spent on a few other campaigns, but these were the primary two, and I'm going to be walking you through what they were exactly. So here's the strategy. Now the strategy is specifically for pre-sale projects. I know pre-sales can be somewhat polarizing depending on where you're located, whether you're in Canada, the US, and so forth. But pre-sale ads are so great to run because you get such a great volume. And most pre-sale projects or pre-constructions, new builds, whatever you want to call them, they have typically a great library of assets available at your disposal in terms of renderings, inside, kitchen photos, bathroom photos, and so forth. And usually the price points are really attractive, so you're going to bring in a ton of volume from first-time home buyers, investors, people looking to upsize, downsize, and so forth. So those are the ads we're going to run. We're going to run Facebook ads because Facebook, in my opinion, still is today, after running Google ads, PPC, YouTube, TikTok ads, the whole spectrum. Facebook ads has typically provided the best kind of bang for your buck in terms of lead quality and quantity. And then lastly, we're going to, once this information is filled out, I'm going to show you what kind of questions you can ask to further qualify these leads and maybe send them down into another funnel there. So here's the actual ad copy. Feel free to pause and take a look at this. It's just an example of what to do here. Some stuff's making noise in the background. But here's an example of what you can do here. So first things first, you're going to want to always have a location call out. So that's going to be the specific area that you're running the ad in. Typically, pre-sales have a really attractive entry point, so you're going to want to mention what that price point is. And then in terms of the actual ad copy itself, all you're going to do, super simple, is talk about the amenities, proximity to different landmarks like hospitals, schools, supermarkets, any other convenient locations. And then lastly, at the very end, just have a call to action. So really simple ad copy here, nothing groundbreaking, but these are kind of the 3 or 4 elements that you need to make a successful ad. Whether you're running pre-con ads or buyer seller ads and so forth, this is kind of the formula here, right? Now in terms of the ad creative is really, really important. I think it's something that realtors tend to struggle with, that agencies are a little bit more experienced with in terms of testing different creatives out and finding what works best. So if you can, most realtors are not super tech savvy, but you can usually outsource this to somebody. If you can get some footage, like if you have a videographer or somebody who's doing video shoots for that specific project, see if they have any clips that they can send over to you, and then voice those clips over and have somebody edit them, whether on Fiverr, you pay them like 15, 20 bucks, or you can just go on your iPhone or Android, use an app like CapCut, add some captions there, and these ads do really, really well. Second type of ads that work really well for pre-con are these carousel ads. So just different photos, like 6 or 7 photos of all the different amenities, what the building looks like, and so forth. Those do really well. And then lastly, grid photos. So grids do really well regardless of the ad type, whether it's pre-con, buyer, seller side. Seller side not so much, but on the buyer side, absolutely. Grid photos like this, they work amazing. So here are a couple things you can ask in terms of the lead qualification side. Oops, skipped a slide there. In terms of lead qualification. So, you know, typically when you run a Facebook ad campaign, you want to start it off with the least amount of friction possible. What I'm referring to there is you don't want to ask too many questions because you're qualifying too hard and you're going to see an increase in your cost per lead. So what you'll want to do as you're starting out a campaign is keep your questions to like 1 or 2 tops until you get enough volume coming in. Once you get some volume in terms of submissions, Facebook's going to know who to show your ad to. Once you have a little bit of data at that point, you're saying, oh, lead quality is not great, increase your qualification. Here are 5 different questions that you can possibly ask. Just read through those. I think they're all pretty self-explanatory there. Actually, one thing I will say, question 2, do you currently rent or own? The reason why we ask that question too is if they currently own their own property, that could be an indication that, hey, maybe they're selling. Oftentimes for pre-construction, it's not the case, but it can be, right? And if they are, you just got a seller lead for $5, which traditionally in most markets is like 3 to 6 times that price, right? And then another important question to ask actually here is, are you interested in other pre-sale opportunities? That's a really good question to ask in terms of, hey, you're advertising one specific pre-sale, but maybe you have access to other units and other buildings, right? So that's another valid question to touch on really quickly there. So upon the client submitting that information on the Facebook lead form side, this is something that not a lot of people do, but it is really nice because what we find data-wise, anywhere from 5 to 15% of leads incoming will actually click onto your second page and book an inbound phone consultation with you. So this is great because now not only are you getting inbound leads, but you are getting inbound booked phone appointments. So these are really, really hot leads who are not only interested in what you're offering, but actually want to speak with you to get your expertise on whether it's this specific unit or possible recommendations on other properties or maybe even some resale properties, right? So I would suggest you build a funnel out with a calendar on the back end to just get some additional qualifications so you can get some inbound booked appointments as well there. Now this is really key here, and I think it's something that a lot of realtors actually get wrong. So the goal is if you call a lead who comes in through a pre-con campaign, the goal is not to sell them on the unit over the phone, right? You always want to get micro commitments. So an example of a micro commitment is, firstly understanding what exactly their needs are. How many beds, baths, like what unit, what areas, is it that specific pre-con? Are they open to others? Any amenities that they want and so forth. Once you have an understanding of their criteria and you have some ideas in mind in terms of possible properties, transition into asking for an in-person meeting. That should always be the goal. The goal is to get them from over the phone to in-person so you can make a connection, build some rapport, show them some possible properties. And even if they're not really on the market today to buy a home, maybe they're 6 months, 9 months, or even 12 months out, there's so many realtors in every market these days that you want to be their realtor before they actually need a realtor, right? So that should be your goal when you're communicating with any of these online leads, right? That's really it for today's video. I hope you found some value out of this. Super simple, quick, and to the point. If you actually want this set up 100% done for you with results guaranteed, or you don't pay, feel free to click the link in the description. You can book a free 15-minute strategy session with myself where we'll walk through what exactly your needs are, provide a free Facebook audit if you're running some ads today to help you out there. Yeah, book a call and see what we could do for you. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one.